Greetings, Gamereactor Nation. I'm Magnus, and we are here at the St. Pancras Hotel in London, a very fancy hotel, as I'm sure you can see by the venue behind me. In here, we were a part of a very special first-hand look at the finished version of The Last Guardian, a game that's been under development for 10 whole years, and maybe even more than that. Now, there was completely open. We have played a bunch of the game from the very get-go. I played it, and there is no doubt that this is a very special game. Now, Fumito Ueda is a special guy. You can watch a interview we've been done or read it on Gamereactor on various Gamereactor networks, but playing the actual game is a very special experience, and there's a couple of reasons why. First off, the game was started 10 years ago, and it very much feels that. A lot of other networks, Gamereactor included, has brought you previews where the main thing is that this game feels 10 years old in both good and bad ways. Mostly because the graphics, or at least the graphical fidelity of what's on screen, is a bit subpar. Now, texture details of grass, of clothes, of facial animations, all that stuff is something that looks akin to a late PS2, start PS3 game. But where the game makes up for that, in my mind, is that it makes up for it in art direction. This is something Ueda is famously known for in Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, his two favorite previous titles. And the art direction is impeccable. Now, what is the art direction? What do I mean specifically? Well, there is the world. It's the same sort of dystopian world that you might see in Eco, but in this, it's been tuned up to 11, so it's a bit more, I think, it's better defined somehow. There's building blocks everywhere. There is fallen spires of what appears to have been a grand kingdom that is now in ruins. And then, of course, what it is the bird dog himself. Now, I'm referring to him as a bird dog because I don't know the actual what race he was going for, but its name is Trico, and it's this huge beast that your small boy character is going to have a relationship with in this game. You can call upon it, you can crawl on it, you start the very game by pulling spears out of its back. It is a very, very emotional experience, and from that point of view, the game does not seem 10 years old. It seems timeless. That's a very important point. That's the impression I got, which is very important from the first hour or so of the game, which is this is a game with an impeccable emotional resonance with the player. Same with Eco, same with Shadow of the Colossus, which wasn't that pretty at the time either. This isn't as well, but what it gives the player in terms of the experience and in terms of the immersion and in terms of the way you feel about Trico and the way you feel about this boy character you're controlling is magnificent. It is grand, and as I said, it resonates perfectly with the player. At least it resonated very well with me. Now, in terms of actual gameplay, we've seen very little, or we've seen a couple of sections that takes place in the very same sort of zone of this abandoned or like broken kingdom. Now we got to play a couple of sections that was a bit different than that. Some puzzle elements using a shield that you can sort of deflect light that grants Trico a couple of new abilities, something calling Trico and crawling on him to reach new sections of the map. All sort of you use Trico as a sort of a stepping stone with your character to solve puzzles. Now, there wasn't any much more to it than that, but then again, both Eco and Shadow of the Colossus were very simple in its design, but made up for it in personality and like iconic visuals and all that stuff. To me, to sum up, The Last Guardian is the perfect third step for Fumito Ueda as a creator. And will it satisfy all of the players out there who've been waiting for this for 10 years? Probably not. The story behind the development of why it was this delayed is almost more interesting than the game itself. That's something that Fumito Ueda cannot change. But the game itself seems to be exactly what he's known for, what his studio is known for, and what will become his legacy. It seems a perfect third chapter in a very iconic modern classic series. So stay tuned for The Last Guardian, which releases just next month. I think there's something very special here, whether or not you can appreciate it or whether or not it's something for you, and whether actually if you can forgive the technical shortcomings that there is, obviously, then I think it's quite a special experience indeed. For more on The Last Guardian, stay tuned to Gamereactor.